As I said, we're going to start with just a very few minutes kind of touching base on a few things, and then we'll go from there.
Where was from, darling, did you come? Turn me inside out, senses scattered about. How I long to press, blushing cheek to my breast. Whirlwind embrace sweeps us off into space. All the scenes on the stage, all the roles that we played. You wait here, will return unless those bridges have burned. Amber glow of the dawn, take a single ray from the dark thunder clouds. Take a whole bouquet. Finally, I peer into the skies. Is that you? The looking glass belies. Turn my head around. You're nowhere to be found. From my sleep, I wake. The truth I can't mistake.
All right. And we want to thank Triple Scoop for the music. And now we saw pretty pictures. We can get to work, right? That's the rule. All right. We are going to go ahead and move forward a little bit. I want to welcome everybody back. It was certainly an incredible day yesterday. I had such a great time. The energy was amazing. I was talking to you yesterday about how usually we speak in rooms of hundreds of people, and when there's 500 to 2,000 people in a room, people become little tiny dots. And I always search out when I'm speaking 4 or 5 people, and we always call them the light bulbs. They're like the little people that just keep smiling and shining. And you know what they do? They nod their head the whole time. They agree to everything I say, and I'm like, I love you, and I love you, and I love you, and I love you. And I look for those people in an audience because they are literally the people that I'm there for. So to have an audience compressed right here in front of me was a little intimidating yesterday, because I thought, what if I see them falling to sleep? That's one of those things that as a speaker, and it happens when you're speaking, all of a sudden you turn and you see that person in the corner that's nodding off, and all of a sudden your head starts thinking, I'm boring, this is terrible. So I was not concerned, but I was interested to see how it would go. And it was so fun watching you yesterday, because you were all so it made me feel like I was in a hurry too. And it's weird how it sort of transcended the room, and I felt like all the people out there, especially adding the Q&A from your team, made it feel so much more cozy. And I can honestly say today that it's like, I feel like, I know I didn't get to spend a lot of time with you, but I feel like I know you, which is really cool too. So thank you, and welcome back, and welcome everybody out there as well. Now, as mentioned, we do have educational materials, and thank you very much for crashing my site yesterday. That was awesome. We sent a lot of people there, and we do appreciate that you took the time to check it out. As you can see, we produce hundreds of marketing campaigns for photographers. Our goal is to make your job very easy so you can get more, remember? Time. It's not about the money, it's about the time you have with the people that you love. So you can go check that out. The special that I mentioned yesterday is probably the best deal here. If you like this baby program, you're going to get the baby kit, the actual marketing materials you need. It's just $74, and it includes 3 months membership to our online university, which is where we do all of your marketing for you. We literally produce your marketing campaigns every month and your social media, so you can check that out. And of course, we had to throw that in here again, because you should always think big. So every single thing I'm talking about is as a package as well, if you're crazy. And actually, one person out there was actually crazy yesterday. So it can happen. You have to believe. So somebody actually did get that. So I'm not sorry I put it in there. So just to check it out. Okay, now with your permission. As was stated yesterday, I do have great products, and we put a lot of time and energy into them. But it is very obtrusive to try to sneak them in or sell them. The one thing I can assure you is I never hold back. I literally, as fast as I can, cram as much information as I can into a show. However, some people don't like to write, and some people just don't want to do the work and just want it done for them. So we have these campaigns available, and with your permission, it's best for us just to give away a lot of free things, and that way you guys don't feel like you're being taken advantage of, and it gives me a chance to talk about them and at least let you know they exist. So the first 3 things that we're giving out out today to everybody is the bonus catalog. Now this is a catalog that I wrote all of the articles that have to do, all the little tips and tricks that are coming up today, the entire set of 5 poses, all of that is in this bonus catalog. I do want to remind you, you can go download it. You will all receive it on Wednesday when I get back. We're going to do one mail out for everybody at one time. If you're buying this show, if you're buying this Creative Live show for $99, you will get this. It's included as well. I do want to mention the Creative Live show. Typically when we go on tour, a show is 4.5 hours and it's $99. It is very shocking to me that that Creative Live is able to produce and allow us to produce 3 full days of education and offer it at only $99. Another thing that I want to let you know out there is I have never allowed any company that we've worked with to have our PDFs of my slides ever, because it's proprietary and they're my images. But this is the one time that we're actually going to allow a PDF of everyday show. And you were not kidding, there are hundreds of slides in there, hundreds of images, and all of the words that I'm saying. So it's great. It's a great way to not have to write it down. So for $99, I think it's an incredible deal. You're going to get the PDFs. You're definitely going to get the entire 3 days. The bonus catalog will be in there as well. So I would say that, I just want to throw a shout out for Creative Live, because I think it's just been a fun process for me, and it's exciting that they can do that. Today we're going to give out a free product as well from our side. This is from youcando.com. This is our marketing website. Today we're going to be talking about pregnancy throughout the show, and there's a marketing campaign called New Beginnings. It's one of my personal favorites. We use it at our studio. I'm going to mention it here. I'm going to show it to you in the middle of the show, and I'm going to give you the code at the very end of the show. So you kind of have to hang out for the whole day if you want this for free. Or you can purchase the show, and then you can have access to it. The link will only be live for the next 72 days. So if you're going to purchase the show, you probably want to do that very, very soon. 72 hours. Or 72, thank you. 72 hours, that's not very long. So we're timing it with Creative Live. So for $99, you're honestly, with the 3 days worth, we're giving you at least $200 worth of free templates. So you're making your money back every time. So it's a great way to go. Now, today's goals, real quickly, before we get into our sessions, because we are in for a powerhouse of shooting today. Today's goals, we are going to have a newborn boy and girl, I believe 3 weeks and 6 days, so little bitty babies. We have a 3 to 4 month old boy and girl, and we also today have a 6-month-old girl. And in addition to that, I moved the pregnancy session today. So we are literally going to power through probably 6 sessions in less than 4 hours. Now that is not the norm at my studio. However, I have no problem with that. I am a very fast shooter. Today our goal is to show you technique. So it's okay that it's going to be a little faster, because we're going to go in there and show you our favorite things to do with those specific ages. And if everything goes well, we should have no problems, and we'll just kind of roll on through that. We also, later in the afternoon, when we come back after the shooting, we're going to go through and do some of the tips and tricks and tools that we use, cover things like backgrounds, props, clothing, equipment. We're going to go through all that. We're going to talk about designing sets, how we choose the clothing, what sells, why clients prefer certain things. So we'll cover all of that as well. And then we do have a segment about pregnancy walkthrough. We're actually going to have a pregnant mom come in here. We're going to teach you how to wrap. I know that's something that's really popular, is how do you tie and make those wraps look good. We'll talk about some of the things there. Probably won't do a lot of photography of the pregnancy session. With a pregnancy session, I would want more time because I feel like each body is very different, and we'll talk about why I allow a little more time for pregnancy sessions, and also how to sell pregnancy sessions, because that's always the biggest question, is how do you capitalize on that? Very time consuming, and they're not the highest sellers. We're going to show you some ways to segment into that. We're also going to cover some tips and tricks on preemies, newborns, babies, all kinds of things, and becoming a baby expert. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about some of the things that I get asked all the time, like how do you hang a baby in a hammock, and how do you get them to do this, and how do you get all those great shots? Now, our goal today is to actually show you a little bit of that while I'm shooting. But again, I want to remind you, this is not a normal studio environment. It's something that in a perfect world, it will work. But if it doesn't, I've also incorporated a lot of little video clips from my studio where I'm actually getting those shots, where I can actually slow it down and educate a little bit. They're very short videos, but I think it's a better way to go. So that for sure we're going to cover all those hard to do things. In fact, I'm going to give you one technique this afternoon that this is, we call it blocking. I'm not going to tell what it is, but it sounds kind of scary when you're talking about newborns, but we're blocking. This technique alone, I promise you, is worth the money that you came here, because the biggest thing people talk about is how do you get babies to sleep? And that's always, I'm asked that all the time. Do you realize every session I do is 1 hour? In fact, do you remember the slide in the beginning of the show, the baby in the hammock? He is absolutely not asleep, even though he looks like it. And I'm going to show you how I got away. In fact, that is the video. That little hammock shot is actually the video today that I'm going to show you how we get away with that. And I think when you see what it is that I actually do, it's going to be very shocking to you. And it's one of the biggest aha moments we had on our last tour. I would literally watch the audience's face when that video came on, because it was just so fun to see how such a simple technique that really was a happy accident for me, that I accidentally figured out one day, has become the sort of the bread and butter of a lot of people's studios, making those sleepy babies happen. So kind of excited about that as well. We are going to go to a live shoot. Our goal is to get out there and to get things done. But I want to make sure, I think that slide was kind of moved. I feel like, there we go. Yeah, we're good. We are going to go to a live shoot, but I just wanted to talk for a few minutes just to sort of reintroduce myself. I know a lot of people actually were not here yesterday out on the internet because I had a lot of people say, I missed yesterday, I heard it was great coming today. So I want to talk a little bit about who I am, not go into great detail, but really talk a lot about dreaming. I love this quote: when in doubt, make a fool of yourself. There is a microscopically thin line between being brilliantly creative and acting like the most gigantic idiot on earth. So what the heck, leap. Now, that is my life story. I feel like that 90% of the time I'm a gigantic idiot, honestly. People sometimes from afar think it's creativity or brilliance. I can assure you it's idiocy. I love to have fun. I love to play hard. I have a very strong team and we work really, really hard, but we make everything a game. Life to me has always been the biggest joke. And it's only a joke because you can laugh at yourself. And when you can laugh at yourself, nothing is ever that bad. We can all go through historically, anything is better than dead, right? So honestly, anything is better. Everything gets better as long as you're breathing. And that's really and truly my attitude, because even in the worst times of my life, I can always see that horizon. There's always going to be a better day. I wasn't kidding about this. I had to throw this in here because this is actually my office. So when I said I had big circus letters, I was not kidding. This is the office. This is actually in my studio. The joke is the bed, don't ask. I do my best work in bed. That is not a quote you can quote. My mother will kill me if she hears that. However, I actually, when I write books, I actually lay in bed to do it. And so when I built this office, I knew that was, I spend most of my time in a hotel room, so I tend to be sitting on a bed all the time. So this is actually my comfort zone here. But you can see that whenever we're doing webinars, seminars, this is sort of my magical little kingdom that I have where that is actually happening. So not only do I have that above my bed, I actually had it tattooed on my arm, on my wrist, so that no matter where I go, I would always, whenever things are not looking good, I just have to kind of give myself one of these or sucker punch somebody in the face with it if they're giving me a hard time. Either way, I never forget. So those two things, that word is literally my lifeline. So just wanted to share with you. I really wasn't kidding about that. All right, this I had to share, and it's something that I mentioned it yesterday, that I had read this article, and I was thinking about it, and I was reading everybody's post last night, and I'm not even sure I could emotionally read this, so I'm going to kind of let you do it on your own. Okay, I'll give it a try. This was actually written by somebody who does care for people who are in their last days, and I thought it was so breathtaking, because this is somebody who said that they had spoke to hundreds of people who passed away, and yet the 5 same requests, the 5 same things always came up. And if you really look at this and you look at what we talked about yesterday, and we talked about dreams, and we talked about work and time and people that you love, every single thing we covered are the people's that are people. Dying people's last requests, things they wish they could have changed. So when we know that, we all know that that's how we feel, and yet when we can't, when we don't allow ourselves to have that freedom, My favorite, honestly, is the last one. I wish I'd let myself be happier, because I think all of these things that we talk about up above really touch, really brings you to that happiness and really brings you there. So not trying to bring you down, I'm actually trying to bring you up. I want you to think about this throughout the entire day. And remember, everything we're talking about leads back to that, to your last day, which, thank heavens, we don't know what that is. We can plan on many and many, many hundreds of great days. But when we go back to that perfect day, on that last day, the day that you're thinking about these things, you want to make sure that you have as many perfect days as possible. And that's what we're going for. Okay, so life is a choice. It's your life. Choose consciously, choose wisely, choose honestly, and choose happiness. Now, that being said, I think we can choose to do photo shoots. What do you think?